Assalamualaikum and very good morning I wish to all of you. Welcome to our forum this week. I would like to start our forum today by introduce myself and our panelists. My name is Muhammad Daniel bin Ruslan, metric number A187860 from Bachelor of Economics as a moderator today. Our counselor and motivator is Dr. Intan Najwa Nur Laila binti Zulkapri from Bachelor of Accounting and Datuk Muhammad Shafi'i bin Azman from Bachelor of Economics. How are you today, Dr. Intan and Datuk Shafi'i?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm fine today.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm good.
Next, he and she is specialist psychologist and counselor. Introducing to you Dr. Hanis Akila binti Hasniza from Bachelor of Economics and Dr. Nur Hamizan bin Muhammad Razali from Bachelor of Business Administration. Nice to see you, Dr. Hanis and Dr. Hamizan. How are you feeling today?
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. I'm good today.
Thank you to Mr. Daniel. I'm also good today.
Okay, before we start our forum in deep, let me explain about our topic today. Our general topic today is a juvenile, and we are going to focus on one topic, which is the causes of juvenile delinquency. So juvenile definition is relating to young person who is not yet old enough to committed crime. This type of crime is something that is increasing, worrying people around the world. It is important social issue because these people are capable of committing serious crimes, yet they have not yet been fully held responsibility. As it is known, all individuals in Malaysia under the age of 18 enriched in Act 611. When we talk about this group from a criminal aspect, offences involving this group are eligible to be tried in court for children, where they will go through a closed trial, except when the case also involves adult perpetrators. Usually, offenders will undergo a rehabilitation school session for period 3 years for the date the sentence is read or until the offenders reach the age of 18 or 21 for the integrity school. So why is it offenders go to school instead of jail since they are guilty? So it is vital for us to develop children's future for our future country, and it is just not too late. For more serious criminal cases involving children between the ages of 14 and 18, by law they cannot be ordered to jail if the court feels that the opportunity there is an opportunity for them to change if sent to a rehabilitation school, even they are proven guilty. Although imprisonment is allowed, the most and often used punishment as form of rehabilitation is to send these children to a rehabilitation school that is recognized as safe from the adult influence. So as we all know, this juvenile issue can occur from both internal and external sources. For instance, internal factor arise within the offenders themselves. So Dr. Intan, what are your thoughts regarding internal factors leading to juvenile delinquency?
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all the panelists. I'm so glad to be one of the guests here today. So based on today's topic, I can direct state that the main cause of a child committing a crime starts from the internal aspects. So this internal factor will be distributed into three main points. The first one is psychological problems. Second, family conflicts. And lastly, puberty problem. These three factors are connected to one another and most likely are the most common causes contributing to juvenile delinquency. Firstly, psychological problems. Psychological issues could be affected by constant family conflicts or a broken home, emotional or behavioral problems, and sometimes due to children's stress. Based on the statistics, most of the juvenile children had psychological issues that consist of bipolar disorder, depression, anger management issues, and psychotic disorders. If we look at the root of these problems, it will come back to their surroundings, which is sometimes family and sometimes their friends. For instance, sometimes these children will having constant family conflict or being bullied continuously by their friends. This problematical surrounding will stir up their brain by being emotional or stressed. Psychological problems should not be overlooked since it will provoke those children to act unexpectedly. Second, moving on to family conflicts, family and home often originated as the crib of a child's personality and character. Family holds a huge role in their children's life, especially during their development of an adolescence, both positive and negative. Children learn the basic life of human decency from their surroundings, especially their own family, which play an important part of their life. More often than that, um, um, issues inside any household will heavily affect a child's mental health. Those children have higher chances to be a criminal, especially if they come from a broken home or had a family full of criminals, since apple doesn't fall far away from the tree. We couldn't blame the children for their misbehave, but instead their parents were at fault too. The crimes their children commit is due to poor parenting, parental emotional problems, and psychopathology. And lastly, puberty problem. Puberty is a sensitive period where teenagers experience rapid changes in either aggressive or rebellious behavior. Based on what I observed when handling problematic students in a counseling session, when they reach teenagers phase, they tend to have a huge desire to try new things, want to be the center of attention, or to be seen as the coolest guy or girl among their friends. Their desire unintentionally leads them to do awful things. Thus, this encourages them to misbehave. For an example, their desire to try new things will expose them into learning things from uneducational sites such as pornography and dark side of internet. After learning from those websites, they will try to learn it by hand in hand. Thus, sign in through this website will eventually lead them to try hookup and involve with other sexual activity. These youngsters make mistakes that will affect their life into long term and also will be addicted to sex and social life with the wrong crowd, thus losing their life completely. To conclude, I totally agree that internal factors can arise within the offender themselves that eventually leads them to be juvenile offenders. Thank you.
I see what you mean, Dr. Intan, and I would like to share my opinion with all of you. In my view, I absolutely agree with Dr. Intan. For me, everything that happened to us always starts from the effect of our own action, or in the other words, it starts from internal factors. That's why I agree with your opinion, Dr. Intan.
Thank you to Dr. Intan and Dr. Hanis Akila. Dr. Intan had made clear about internal factors that lead teenagers to juvenile delinquency. So how about external factors? So Dr. Shafi'i, as motivator, can you explain further about external factors that make teenagers involved in these issues?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Before I answering question from Mr. Moderator, first I want to agree with panel 1 opinion. I think the explanation that she gave concrete, but we can ignore the external causes of this forum topic. In my opinion, commonly this aspect is always overlooked by some people, even though this aspect is important as an internal aspect. So, to answer question from Mr. Moderator, I want to highlight two main points that I want to explain in this forum. As a moderator, I think the dominant aspect that causes juvenile delinquency is environment of life. This related with how they were brought up, how they studies, and how they through their life. For example, they may not be given enough attention by their families. they also feel that they are no longer important in the family because they are neglected in terms of their love need, especially from their own parents. This situation make them prone to make mistake in order to attract the attention from others.
I'm sorry, Mr. Shafi'i. I hope you will excuse me for interrupting, but could I quickly get to everyone here that I am strongly agree with the second panelist's opinion that juvenile delinquency surely can be caused by external factors such as education. This is because education plays a very important part in shaping up a person's behavior and knowledge, and I will explain it in detail later.
Thank you, Nur Hamizan, for your view. Allow me to continue my points. My second point is society. Society is also the driving force for youth delinquency. This happens when a teenager commit an offense. The perception of society will continue to change and cause them to have no support to correct their mistake. As a result, delinquency in juvenile is becoming more contagious. To sum up my point, I think internal and external aspect is important to observe if we want to solve this problem in the future.
Thank you, Datuk Shafi'i. As we heard from two of our panelists, the causes of the existing juvenile is because of internal and external factors. So it is our responsibility to overcome this issue immediately and take this issue seriously. So without wasting our time, let's hear the honest opinion from our psychologist, Dr. Anis Akila, to prevent this delinquency in the internal aspect spread among teenagers.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for giving me the opportunity to speak. If we talk about causes of juvenile delinquency, it seems necessary to discuss about some ways to overcome juvenile delinquency through internal and external aspects. As a psychologist, I would like to share my opinion about that for internal aspects. Basically, we knew that the causes of juvenile delinquency are closely related to the psychologies and mental health of offenders. Psychology has become a very important and popular subject today. If we talk about psychology, it's related to human behavior. Psychology helps us to understand the behavior of people around us, to find out why they behave differently and what are the reasons that make them so different from others. Many researchers have concluded that human behavior is complex and sometimes unpredictable. So we need to overcome juvenile delinquency, and we can do it many ways. The first way to overcome juvenile delinquency is we need to be good at controlling our emotion, because of recognizing our emotion and learning to manage them is one of the most important skills that we need to learn. Besides, it will help people become mentally stronger. In fact, people who are good at manage and control their behavior are more likely to do well in their life. The moment children are born, they start learning skills that include cognitive, emotional, interactional, and language skills. These skills are acquired over time and very important as they shape a person and improve their ability to fulfill their potential. For example, emotional skills are important for children as they teach them how to deal with life difficulties and when to have sympathy and compassion for others. Without emotional skills, children are inclined to engage in destructive choices when they are older. For example, children with low emotion skills are likely to engage in criminal activities. Secondly, parents need to raise and develop their children with the good values and moral values. They are responsible for shaping up the child's behaviors and implementing positive values in them. Children always listen, observe, and imitate their parents. Every children need to practice those values to determine their behavior in the future. The family plays an important role in inculcating norms and values within children. These include an understanding of right and wrong, respect, fairness, compassion, and responsibility. Children learn this value by observing and emulating their parents' behavior and being taught by their parents. Thus, children learn both the importance of these values and consequence of not observing them. In addition, parents have to explain to their children that hurting someone is not just a physical problem, or any hurt can have a psychological and emotional effect as well. Remember to teach your children how to apologize and encourage them to apologize immediately if they ever hurt someone, either physically or mentally. Also, children need to be taught how to respect others' opinion. If they hear someone say something that they disagree with, show them how they can respectful of different feelings and opinions, even if they disagree with them. Show children that they can disagree and thus show respect for their own feelings and thoughts without needing to force others. It will prevent them from use violence to other people. In conclusion, there are various ways to overcome juvenile delinquency, especially from internet aspects. I hope that we all take it seriously to reduce juvenile delinquency cases in our society. I also hope that the other panelists also agree with my opinion.
Thank you, Dr. Hanis, for your opinion. I agree with Dr. Hanis' point about adolescents should control their emotion in order to avoid problem situation. But I think most important part is that the parents and specifically their family needs to give constant support to their children when they are trying to cope with emotional upset and mindset. Thus, our awful behavior and criminal activity can be avoided in the near future.
Okay, let's move to the last panelist, Dr. Hamizan. What is your view how to get the better of the juvenile delinquency, Doctor?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera to everyone. I am very honored by the chance given in joining this forum. I will just give a short yet useful information. In my opinion, I strictly believe that the juvenile delinquency can be prevented through external factors and not by the internal factors alone. I believe that the most important external factors here is the education. One of the methods that can be taken here is teaching and developing the basic and moral values of the child. For example, the child is taught to respect the elders, to help each other when other people need help, how to speak politely, and keep away from bad behaviors such as stealing or vandalism. Another strategy is to manage classes, and this involves using instructional methods designed to increase the student engagement in the learning process and hence increase their academic performance and bonding to the school. Therefore, student or the child can be monitored closely and any problems can be detected as soon as possible to help the child or the students. Allow me to quote a sentence from the article Causes of Juvenile Delinquency written by Nato and Constantine from Shota Rustaveli State University, which is educational measures with juveniles, raising their cognitive interests, giving a stimulus for life, development of labor skills and abilities, and positive environment will serve as the conditions with the support of which a correct way should be shown to difficult children and prevent them from leading to offense. The other external factors that play important part in my opinion is the community. Community is basically the people around us. Although the people or community around us are strangers and we don't know who they are, but they can play an important role for preventing the child delinquency. One of the ways communities can help is by setting up special facilities to provide adequate shelter for young persons who are no longer able to live or who do not have place to live in. Many of the juvenile delinquency offenders are those who don't have a place that they can call a home or a place that they can return. Therefore, it influences the child emotion and behavior toward delinquency. Another way is providing a range of services and helping measures should be provided to deal with the difficulty experienced by the juvenile in the transition to adulthood. Such service should include special programs for the young drug abusers, which emphasize care, counseling, assistance, and not focusing only on punishment or imprisonment only. Even in the article I mentioned before, there are proof saying that the deprivation of liberty, such as imprisonment, can cause non-collectible psychological and physical damage to children.
Sorry for interrupt, Datuk Nur Hamizan. I agree with your point that you have given, but I want to add some point that in my view, it is important. The point I want to add is how the family raise their children. Family upbringing is important because it reflects how juvenile will be, whether it will be a good person or problematic person. This happen because family is the closest
Thank you
person.
for the
to-
brilliant opinion, Mr. Shafiq.
That's all from me. You may continue your explanation, Dato' Nur Hamizan.
Okay, thank you for the brilliant opinion, Mr. Shafiq. Hence, let me sum up my opinion, which is juvenile delinquency can surely be prevented by using external factors, and this problem should be prevented as soon as possible to ensure our future generation is a generation that is successful.
Thank you to Dr. Nur Hamizan and Datuk Shafi'i for your statement. It seems that all of our panelists already shared their talk today. So I know, is there any question run in our panelists' mind, or otherwise we should close this session?
Excuse me, may I speak? I think there are no questions from us because all the points are explained very well and clear.
That's good. So finally, we have come to end of our forum, where we have shared a lot of knowledge which we don't even know or thought before well. From what all of our panelists shared just now, there are few internal and external factors that lead our teenagers to juvenile delinquency. There are also some methods to prevent this juvenile delinquency spread among teenagers in internal and external aspects. It is kind of sad to see children get separated from their family at growing age, but something that everyone need to understand is we are given this life because we are strong enough to live in it. So try not to underestimate them and keep giving them love and our support. So that's all. Thank you to all of our panelists today for spending your time here. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you again when I see you again. So yeah, you may leave the meeting room now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.